Whispers are echoing through the sterile, cold hallways of the hospital, and if you ask me, something truly sinister is bubbling beneath the surface of Port Charles. A chilling piece of news has just reached us from the inside, suggesting that Brennan has vanished into thin air, leaving nothing behind but a bed that is still warm to the touch. Guys, I cannot even begin to tell you how unsettling this is. We are looking at a situation where security was supposed to be airtight, yet someone managed to pull off an extraction so clean it would make a ghost jealous. This is not just a missing person case. This is the spark that could ignite the entire town. If you ask me, the tension in the air is thick enough to cut with a knife, and the silence following his disappearance is deafening. We have been tracking these developments for days, and the pieces just do not seem to fit the narrative we were fed. If you suspect that someone on the inside helped him, you are certainly not alone in that thought. Willow is spiraling, and honestly, can you blame her? I saw her face when she realized the bed was empty, and the look of pure terror in her eyes told a story that she is trying desperately to bury. We know that she has been dancing on the edge of a breakdown for weeks, but this is absolute nightmare fuel. If you ask me, Willow knows more than she is letting on about the security breach, but the guilt and the fear of those blackmail documents resurfacing are keeping her lips sealed tight. It is heartbreaking to watch, but we have to be realistic here. Willow is caught in a web that she helped spin, and now the threads are tightening around her throat. She is terrified that the truth about her past, the secrets she shares with Brennan, will finally be laid bare for everyone in the mansion to see. We can see the panic setting in, and I think we can all agree that she is one bad decision away from total collapse. Then there is Nina, our favorite enigma. She is playing the part of the concerned, confused socialite so perfectly that it is almost disturbing. But guys, I've been watching her closely, and there is a coldness in her demeanor that is completely at odds with her public persona. I have a very strong feeling that Nina is the architect behind this entire disappearing act. Why would she do it? If you ask me, she is desperate to keep the lid on the Pandora's box that is her connection to Brennan. If he talks, she loses everything. We are talking about her reputation, her relationship with her daughter, and perhaps even her freedom. It is a classic move, isn't it? If you want to keep a secret safe, you make sure the person who holds it can no longer speak. The irony is, by trying to silence the danger, she might have just invited a much larger catastrophe into her life. It is like she is playing chess against herself, and she is losing on every front. Cullum is not buying the innocent act for a second, and he is out for blood. I have been tracking his movements, and he is digging into the hospital logs with a ferocity that is frankly terrifying. He knows someone bypassed the high security protocols, and he is convinced that it was an inside job. If you ask me, he is getting closer to the truth than anyone wants him to be. He has that look of a man who has nothing left to lose, especially after everything that went down with the Blade of the Cassidines. If he finds out that Nina is the one who orchestrated the disappearance, the fallout is going to be absolute carnage. We know that Sidwell is already breathing down his neck, demanding results, and if Cullum cannot deliver, he knows his time is running out. This is a powder keg waiting for a match, and I suspect that match is about to be struck any second now. We cannot forget about the weight of the secrets these people are carrying. It is like a heavy, suffocating blanket that covers the entire city. Every time we think we have reached the bottom of the conspiracy, another layer is peeled back. You have to wonder how much more of this pressure they can endure before they snap. If you ask me, we are approaching a point of no return. The blackmail material that Willow is holding is the ultimate bargaining chip, but it is also a ticking time bomb. If those documents ever hit the light of day, the ripple effects will be felt by everyone, from the elite penthouses to the darkest corners of the docks. We are witnessing the slow, agonizing dismantling of lives that were built on foundations of lies, and it is honestly captivating to watch, even if it is completely devastating. I really believe that the disappearance of Brennan is going to be the catalyst for a chain reaction that no one can stop. We are talking about broken alliances, secret betrayals, and a level of paranoia that is going to tear these families apart. Nina thinks she is in control, but she is barely holding on to the reins. Willow thinks she can outrun her past, but it is breathing down her neck. And Cullum? He is a wild card who could just as easily burn everything to the ground as he could save his own skin. If you ask me, we are witnessing the beginning of a total systemic breakdown. Nothing will be the same after this week, and if you think the drama is high now, just wait until the truth about the missing files starts to leak out. It is going to be a bloodbath of social standing and personal ruin. Look at the way Nina holds herself. She is constantly looking over her shoulder, checking her phone, and ensuring that no one is listening to her conversations. It is the behavior of a woman who is living in a state of constant high-stakes panic. And guys, I suspect that even her closest confidants have no idea how deep this goes. She has been playing a dangerous game with Brennan, thinking she could outmaneuver him, but the man is a master of manipulation. If he is gone, who is to say he did not leave a contingency plan? That is the beauty of this chaos. You never know who is holding the winning hand until the very last card is dealt. I personally think that Brennan had a trap set for exactly this scenario, and everyone involved is currently walking right into it without even realizing the danger they are in. Willow is in such a fragile state that I fear for her safety. She has been through so much, and now she is forced to play investigator in a game where she is clearly out of her depth. If you ask me, her desperation is going to lead her to make a move that will expose her to Sidwell, and that is where the real nightmare begins. Sidwell is not a man who forgives, and he certainly does not forget the betrayal involving his son. If he finds out that Willow and Nina were even tangentially involved in the disappearance, he will not stop until he has systematically destroyed everything they hold dear. We are looking at a clash of titans where no one is going to walk away unscathed. It is absolutely wild to think about how all these disparate threads are finally beginning to weave together into one giant, tangled mess. We have to talk about the psychological toll this is taking on everyone involved. You can see it in their expressions when they interact. The forced smiles, the lingering glances, the way they hesitate before they speak it is all indicative of a deep, festering rot. I honestly believe that the guilt is going to be the thing that ultimately undoes them. You can hide a secret for a while, but eventually the weight of it becomes too much to carry. And with Brennan missing, there is no one left to share that burden with. They are all alone in their lies, and that is when people start to talk. That is when they start to break. I am betting that we will see a major crack in the facade by the end of the next few days. It is just a matter of time before someone blinks, and once they do, it is all over. If you ask me, the most dangerous person in this entire situation is the one we haven't even considered yet. Is there an unknown player moving these pieces? Someone who has been waiting in the shadows for the perfect moment to strike? We know that Port Charles is full of people with hidden agendas, and it would not surprise me at all if this whole disappearance was orchestrated by a third party to pit Nina, Willow, and Cullum against each other. It is the perfect distraction. While they are busy tearing each other apart, someone else is taking control of the city. We have to keep our eyes wide open, because the real villain in this story might still be hiding in plain sight. It is all part of the grand, chaotic design that keeps us coming back for more. I am sensing a shift in the power dynamics of the city. The old guard is losing their grip, and the new chaos is taking over. If you ask me, this is exactly what the writers wanted us to see: a world where the rules no longer apply and where everyone is a potential casualty. It is intense, it is raw, and it is exactly why we love this show. Guys, do not for a second think that this is the end of the story. In fact, I am convinced we are only at the very first chapter of a much larger, much darker saga. Every piece of information we get just leads to more questions. And that is how you know we are in for a long, bumpy ride. It is going to be a summer of absolute chaos, and I am here for every single second of it. Think about the implications of the evidence that Willow is trying to hide. If it links back to the hospital, or even worse, to the Corinthos family, the heat is going to be unbearable. People are going to start asking questions about funding, about medical malpractice, and about who really has the authority to move patients in the middle of the night. If you ask me, the hospital is going to become the epicenter of a massive legal and moral scandal. This is not just a missing person. It is an exposure of every single secret that has been festering in Port Charles for years. We are looking at the potential total collapse of the institutions that hold this city together, and it is going to be absolutely glorious to watch. We have seen how Sidwell operates in the past, and he is not the kind of man to take a loss lying down. If he believes that Cullum is responsible for his son's death, and he suspects that Cullum is also involved in this new mess, he is going to come down on him with the force of a wrecking ball. I truly think we are looking at a showdown that will result in at least one major casualty. The tension is already palpable, and every interaction between these characters feels like a prelude to a fight. I am holding my breath, waiting for that first punch to be thrown. It is going to be explosive, and it is going to change the face of Port Charles forever. Finally, I have to ask, what happens if Brennan isn't dead? What if he is just biding his time, waiting for the perfect moment to return and reclaim his power? That would be the ultimate twist, wouldn't it? Nina and Willow would be trapped, knowing that their secret is still alive and out there somewhere. That kind of psychological torture is what really keeps me up at night. If you ask me, the mystery of where he is and who has him is the most important question we have to answer. I am going to be watching every single move, every single glance, and every single whisper in the coming days, and I suggest you do the same. This is just the beginning of a storm that will leave nothing standing in its wake. The calm before the battle is over, and the war for the soul of Port Charles is about to turn into a total bloodbath, with no survivors left in its path.
Goodbye. Please like, subscribe, and comment on the GH Spoilers Daily channel.